47th President Donald Trump confirms that he plans to use military assets to carry out his mass deportation plan. Let's check out what Tom Homan has to say about this, as well as Texas DPS spokesman.
Your reaction to this, the media pushing back on this, but didn't Biden already declare a terror emergency? More than 1,950 terror suspects alone caught crossing under Biden. That's just a generation after 9/11.
Well, the Biden administration hasn't done enough. If you look at the removal of criminal aliens, those illegal in the United States who've been convicted of a crime, those removals are down 74% from the Trump administration. So there hasn't been enough focus on criminal aliens, specifically these alien gangs like Tren de Agua and MS-13. But President Trump has promised that public safety threats and national security threats are their priority right out of the gate. So we're going to be looking at Tren de Agua. Their days of horror are coming to an end.
Talk to us about, we've seen numbers, 800,000 criminal illegal aliens crossing over the last 40 years through Biden. The National Guard already has been deployed under the Biden White House, but there's pushback against the Trump wanting to use military assets to deport illegal aliens. How does that work when you catch a criminal illegal alien to deportment? Can you walk us through how it works?
Well, first of all, DOD's helped several administrations to secure the border, Republican and Democrat. DOD will be used, if we have an agreement from DOD, the president has to make that decision. But if we use DOD, then they'll be used to do non-enforcement duties, such as transportation, whether it's on ground or air, infrastructure building, intelligence. Things that would take a badge and gun and ICE officer that are doing these type of duties, takes them away from those duties, put them on the street, and let the military do those duties, because it doesn't require immigration authority. So there'll be a force multiplier to take more agents, put them on the streets where we need them. But look, we arrest a criminal alien, we take them into custody. They're put in detention, they're put in an ice bed while we make arrangements for the home country. They got to send us travel documents, they got to accept them as a national of their country. It takes several days, up to 2 weeks. So we detain them, put them on the next airplane out, and send them out. And we're hoping DOD will help us with air flights, because there's some limited.
Let's take a look at this side footage here, this footage on the screen, and you see people just coming to the country, throwing rocks and just acting crazy, acting a fool. They don't belong here. People like this don't belong in the country. I'm not discriminating against anybody. I'm just saying the people the bad actors who are coming to the country that have got to go.
The number of planes ICE has contracts with, so DOD can certainly help with air flights all across the globe.
Tom, talk to us about how no other country in the world has had its border abused by illegal aliens like the United States.
Absolutely not. We are in a world that I never thought we'd be in, Liz. Border Patrol has arrested, since Joe Biden's been in the White House, they have arrested people from 181 different countries. That's almost every country in the world. And 46,000 Chinese nationals of males of military age. There's no way 46,000 Chinese did not leave China without the coordination and consent of the Chinese government. It just doesn't happen. So we got a lot of national security threats in this nation that we got to find. We got to get them out of here quickly.
Tom Homan.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so glad that Tom Homan is overseeing this project, this mass deportation effort. That is an invasion. People crawling under gates and fencing house put up and climbing over it, whatever, and throwing rocks. It's destructive. It's nonsense. But anyway, here's what Texas DPS spokesman had to say about Trump's mass deportation plan. We'll also get into some polling, and what Tom Homan had to say in response to Boston mayor's what she had to say about Trump's deportation plan.
Now to give deeper insight is Lieutenant Chris Oliveira, spokesman for the Texas Department of Public Safety. Lieutenant, good morning to you. As always, thank you.
Good morning, Mark. Thanks for having me.
So Trump confirming on Truth Social that he would declare a national emergency and use military assistance in carrying out these deportations. That's the big picture. But Lieutenant, when you zoom in on actual communities, what is that about to look like on a local level?
You know, Marky, I think that there's been a lot of just the type of information that's been put out right now. And I go back to the campaign. I go back to what even Tom Homan has said on numerous interviews. The fact that, you know, there's this perception that the new administration is going to conduct these mass deportations by going to houses and deporting people that are in the country right now. For the most part, the messaging that I know, that I'm aware of, that's been, you know, put out is that people that have crossed in the last 4 years under the current administration that crossed illegally those that have orders of removal, which there's over 1.3, 1.5 million that already have, gone through due process and are ordered to remove, from the country, criminals, suspected terrorists, criminal gangs. Those are the priorities, from the current administration or the new administration moving forward, at least by the messaging they have put out. So I can see that happening. As far as everything else, I mean, obviously, people that cross or into the country illegally, that is a crime. That is federal law. But I have not heard or even seen anything as far as, going to deport people or look for people that have been in the country for decades. I think that's just the misconception that's been put out right now so far because of these new policies that are being put out.
With the millions of people who have crossed over in the last 4 years, who are now, kind of lost in the American.
Yeah, I think that's a misconception is that people who have been here for 20 years, 30 years, Tom Holman is going to be coming to your door and yanking you out of your home and putting you on a plane. That's not going to happen. He's not going to people that have been here for 10, 20, 30, even 40 years. He's specifically targeting people, convicted criminals, and people with deportation orders to leave. Mainly people that have come into the country over the last 4 years. That's who they are targeting.
American fold, if you will. Won't that require going door to door in some aspect?
I don't see it that way. I mean, this is a strategic operation. Tom Homan has said it again, being strategic, focusing on the priority, which is, public safety and national security threats. Those that have orders of removal, criminal gangs, those that have violent criminal backgrounds that have committed crimes in the country and other states. But also it's going to require cooperation from other states. It's going to require cooperation from local law enforcement because those are the ones that actually arrest some of these individuals and place them in jails where they do have a detainer, where they do report to ICE. So it is going to require that cooperation from those states, from those governors as well. Now, when you have, sanctuary cities or states that are not willing to cooperate, well, it's going to be very challenging for this new administration to advance their agenda and locate some of these individuals. But for the most part, the priority is to locate those criminals, the ones that have gone through due process, that are ordered to remove. That's going to be a very challenging task in itself when you have over 1.3, 1.5 million to locate.
And how do you see that? Because Trump has come forward and said he'll work with local law enforcement, local police departments too. And to your point, they'd be the ones, making some arrests. Where do you see the military coming in, and what kind of role would they play in this?
Well, I mean, I think the military can be used in just, different examples. I mean, for one, I would say, what we've been doing in Texas with our own Texas National Guard, placing physical barriers along the river, being able to observe any type of illegal border crossings and report that to law enforcement, which in this case it would be us, state police, but also repelling illegal border crossings, being able to stop illegal border crossings. Our National Guard have stopped tens of thousands of illegal immigrants that could potentially cross between ports of entry just by having a mere show of force, having the presence along the rivers. Now, I can see this at the federal level where, soldiers can actually use or gather intelligence, observe, any activity on the river and report that to U.S. Border Patrol agents, or fill those gaps along the border where you may not have enough agents. So those agents can actually focus on the criminals. So they can be used in many different ways. Also locating some of these individuals, these people that have gone through due process, the criminals, they can be used in many different ways as far as helping federal authorities to locate some of these individuals and provide, better border security.
And Lieutenant, just a few seconds left. If Trump were to come to you and say, okay, Lieutenant, where do I start in Texas specifically? How do you respond?
Well, I mean, Texas, I think we've done a real good job as far as, securing the border. 86% of illegal border crossings are down in Texas because of our efforts, because of our National Guard. But I would say that we need to focus on locating those criminals, the ones that have gone through the jail systems, that have gone through due process, trying to locate them and have better support from the federal level, which we have not had in the last 4 years. So,
yeah, that's what it's going to come down to is a partnership with local law enforcement in the states. But Tom Homan has a message for the Boston mayor. Let's check it out.
What will Boston's response be if these mass deportations take place?
Yeah, look, elections have consequences, and the federal government is responsible for a certain set of actions, and cities, no individual city can reverse or override some parts of that. But what we can do is make sure that we are doing our part to protect our residents in every possible way, that we are not cooperating with those efforts that actually threaten the safety of everyone by causing widespread fear and having large-scale economic impact.
Here's Tom Homan's response to that.
defending our residents every possible way. Well, she's not very smart, I'll give her that, because what I just said is President Trump's going to prioritize public safety threats. What mayor or governor doesn't want public safety threats out of their communities? I mean, that's her number one responsibility, is to protect her communities, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So she helps us, she gets the hell out of the way, because we're going to do it. And look, there's a clear line here, and they can't cross a clear line. I would suggest she read Title 8, United States Code 1324 III, that says, you can't harbor or conceal an illegal alien in front of law enforcement officers. So I hope she don't cross that line. They can not cooperate, but there are certain laws in place that they can't cross, and I hope she doesn't cross it. But
Get the hell out of the way, Tom Homan says. But look, this just came out. It's from Breitbart. Sanctuary jurisdictions have protected more than 22,000 criminal aliens from deportation since the start of the Biden-Harris administration, analysis of federal data reveals. This is from Center of Immigration for Immigration Studies, finds that from January 20 to July 2021 to July 2024, sanctuary jurisdictions have helped more than 22,000 illegal aliens evade criminal deportation from the United States, despite immigration and customs enforcement agents seeking them into custody. During President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris' first year in office, the sanctuary jurisdictions kept 2,500 criminal aliens from being turned over to ICE agents. The following year, the number of ICE detainers that sanctuary jurisdictions refused to honor more than doubled to over 5,700, indicating how the Biden-Harris administration emboldened such policies across the U.S. In 2023, close to 8,000 ICE detainers were not honored by sanctuary jurisdictions. And this year, thus far this year, nearly 6,000 detainers have not been honored. This is why blue state governors and mayors need to get the hell out of the way. Like Tom Homan said, you're harboring criminals. They are targeting convicted criminals, people with orders to be removed. You cannot protect them. That's a public safety issue. Why in the heck would anybody want that? But here's some polling data that has come out. Poll shows growing support for migration enforcement after the election. 72% of citizens supported the deportation of illegal migrants who have committed crimes, according to the Harvard-Harris poll of 1,732 registered voters, conducted November 13th through 17th. Just 8% strongly opposed the deportations. Who are these 8%? The far radicals, the lunatics, the idiots. 64% supported closing the border by reinstating past immigration policies that discourage illegal immigration. Just 10% strongly oppose the revived enforcement. 58% supported conducting deportations of illegal immigrants living here on public assistance. Just 15% opposed. Immigration was named the top issue by 55% of GOP voters, 32% of independents, 22% of blacks, 28% of Hispanics. I mean, that is polling data right there. That the priority is convicted criminals. That's the priority there. And the Trump administration has made it very clear that's what they're going after. I think that should be a top priority for everybody. It's a public safety issue. People have gone through the jail systems, rapists, murderers, child molesters, people who have done smash and grabs, robbing people. Those are people that have to go. People who sell drugs, gang activity, those people have got to go first. Then, the freeloaders. I think the American people have levels of they have priority where they prioritize who they want in the country and who we don't want in the country. Criminals got to go. Freeloaders, you can go too, but obviously criminals are a higher priority, in my opinion. But here we go. Here's more. Texas braces for final Biden-era migrant surge. Illinois extends welcome mat. I mean, this is red state governor Greg Abbott, my state, is preparing for the surge, a final surge as Joe Biden prepares to leave office. And then you have the governor of Illinois saying he will do everything he can to protect undocumented immigrants. Greg Abbott says, over the past week, Texas National Guard soldiers stopped hundreds of illegal aliens crossing into our state. Texas will continue to deploy drone teams and ground units and to hold the line. They stop hundreds of. There we go. Same thing. So Abbott has done a great job at repelling people from coming to the country, putting troops down there, barriers. All these things help. Spend lots of money on it, and I'm proud. I'm okay with spending this money on this. My tax dollars going towards protecting the border in our state. I'm okay with that. But I'm glad to see that we have a Trump administration coming in here to clean this mess up and take some of the pressure off of Texas DPS and Texas National Guard. It'll be good to see some military assets down there, continuing to build physical barriers, a show of force. Then you can put ICE agents back into you can put them on the streets to carry out the mass deportation plan. Get the criminals out of here, get people in the jail systems out, like I said, and we can get back to a sane and sound border policy in the United States, and not this craziness. It's lunacy. Yeah, but I mean, look, Biden has deported people. I'm not denying that. I mean, if you look at the ICE website, if you look at ICE's website, they have been deporting people. This is from November 15th. U.S. Immigration Customs Enforcement, component of the Department of Homeland Security, working in close coordination across departments, including the U.S. Well, let's skip down. Since the presidential proclamation and interim final rule went into effect on June 5th through the end of October, DHS has removed or returned more than 216,000 individuals to more than 160 countries, not including people who are encountered at the airports of the northern border. ICE Euro has operated more than 660 international flights in that period, while DHS has tripled the percentage of Southwest borders encounters processed for expedited removal. Overall, preliminary data show that DHS completed over 700,000 removals and returns in fiscal year 2024, more than any other prior fiscal year since 2010. So yes, Biden has been removing people, but also there was a huge crisis created from the very beginning, from 2021 all the way to 2023. You saw some changes, but then you also have people coming into the CB1 app or whatever it's called, people being paroled into the country. So you still have a large influx of people coming across the southern border from various countries. So they're deporting some, but then there's also a lot of people that are coming to the southern border. 10 million people, 10 million encounters, 10 million plus. We don't know how many have been released into the country and how many are out there. Then you have these tragic situations like Lincoln Riley, brutally murdered. We have a mother of 5 who was brutally murdered by an illegal alien. Jocelyn Nungare, that's 12 years old, raped and killed by 2 illegal aliens. This has got to stop. This is what people are afraid of. This is what people are concerned with, and I'm glad it's going to come to an end. All right, guys, I'm going to leave that right there. It's a lot of information. Like and subscribe. See you next time. Thank you. Take care.